And welcome back to b4Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And how you doing? There I am. Joining me tonight, I've got a guy, man, I tell you, his resume of who he has performed with is simply astonishing. And that is, that's the biggest word I can use for it. But it is Buck Ford. Buck, how are you, man?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing great. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Now, Buck
Awesome.
is he kind of holds true to the country roots, and I love that. I mean, you've got a fantastic old school sound and just amazing. I mean, your music is so good. I've been streaming it over and over the last couple of days just to listen to it, and I love the one thing that you put in there that I think somebody needs to write a song about is where has the steel guitar gone?
Well, I appreciate that, man. That's I tell you what, that's about all I know is that kind of music, and it's just I've such a blessing to be able to go out and record music in that style and get on the road and play it and have people enjoy the same kind of music that I'm all about. And but to be honest, that's all I know. That's stuff that I grew up on, and call me old fashioned, but that's only the stuff I like to play. To be honest with you. It might hurt me, but I like that's so if I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't that kind of music. So I
If it
appreciate that.
hurts you, then stay true to the pain, man. That's all I can say.
Well, we're enjoying it, and I got a good group of guys that have been traveling and touring with me for over a decade now, and they're just cut from the same cloth I am. We just love to go out and play and all over the place. And there's a lot of folks out there that like that kind of music, and we're going to keep doing that kind of stuff as long as we can. And as long as folks want to come out and hear it, we're going to keep doing it. And but yeah, that's all I know is that kind of music and steel guitar and a fiddle. You won't find a show that I'm doing that doesn't have that in my band. And that's just something I've always, took the hit on. And, coming up through the ranks, it's like, you're not getting money to go out and perform and do things, but I'm taking a big hit having a full band like I do.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me. I mean, I just want to go out and play good music, regardless of how much money we can put in our pockets and get on the road. I know it's tight. It's hard. It's hard. I definitely, like I said, it hurts me to go out and do it sometimes, but I have to do it. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for that kind of stuff. And that's why I do it. Those sounds and that kind of stuff.
So with the sound that you have, who are some of the influences that you've had through the years?
Oh man, that's a big, there's so many guys out there. Mark Chestnut, obviously Strait and Haggard. So many guys I looked up to. Daryl Singletary is one of my heroes growing up, and played some shows with him, met him, and hung out with him, and it's been guys like that I really tried to emulate and tried to copy, and even though those guys are so darn good and so unique, that's the thing I miss about that earlier music is like when someone sang something, you knew exactly who it was as soon as they said it. They were completely different. The Mark Chestnuts, the Joe Diffie's. There was only one of those guys. There wasn't a whole, dozen of those kind of guys running around trying to have a template to sing the same style and the same kind of songs with the same lyrics. And that was something that I do miss with music. And when I'm driving down the road, it's usually a Daryl Singletary song or a Strait or a Mark Chestnut, Tracy Lawrence kind of thing running down my radio. That's just what I listen to, and that's stuff that I still listen to those records from 80s and 90s, and I find new stuff that I like about them. So there's so much stuff going on in that music then. It's so hard not to like it for me anyways. But yeah, I mean, George Strait obviously is someone that I've idolized my whole life since I was a baby. My mom and dad, that's all they had on the radio when I was growing up. And like I said, that's all I know is that kind of stuff. So it's to go out and play that kind of music and have a fan base and have folks come out and want to hear that style of music. That's just such a cool feeling to me to go out and do that. It's great that people want to still hear that kind of stuff. And there's so many people that want to hear that kind of style. There still is, even though it's not saturated out there like I think it should be. But there's still a lot of folks that come out to the shows, and like I said, it's getting fan bases getting broader. I'm trying to get the name out there and just cutting more. I'm getting more stubborn as I get older. I'll be honest with you. All my records kind of, I would try to fit in a little bit more in the earlier records to try to like, fit this something that I'm not, but more now when I'm cutting a record, it's like, all right, I'm cutting the stuff that I want to do. That's
Right.
I wouldn't be doing, I can do something else I don't want to do and make a living and do that kind of stuff. But this is what I want to do. If I can still do it and get crowds out, that's what I'm keep doing. So it's been doing pretty good for me. And like I said, just super blessed to go out and play the music I love and have folks sing along with us. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I mean, and I was talking about your resume earlier. I mean, you've shared the stage with, and I'm just going to run through a few of these for the simple fact that they kind of tie into what your influences were. I mean, you've got like Daryl Singletary, Steve Azar. You've got, let's see, Ty Herndon's on there. John Michael Montgomery, Aaron Tippin, Aaron Watson. Which Aaron Watson isn't necessarily a '90s artist, but he's still got that feel. Clint Black,
he's got a great feel.
You've been on the road with Mark Chestnut or on stage with Mark.
Yeah, Mark is so much fun. Yeah, Mark's a good old boy. Every time we get together, he's just such a nice guy and just likes what we do and just always like, dude, just keep going. I know I love it, so just keep going, man. It's awesome. Like, if it helps anything, just keep going, brother, because I love what you're doing. I'm like, fuck, all right. Mark Chestnut's saying that. But yeah, it's been quite, like I said, quite a blessing to get out there and meet some of my heroes and share the stage with them and do, it's awesome. It really is cool.
And some of the other folks, I mean, not just those, but Easton Corbin, Justin Moore, Chris Young.
Oh, yeah.
Cody Johnson. Watson earlier. Dustin Lynch. All those guys have a good feel. I mean, Dustin's probably, and Wade Hayes, I'm sorry. And Dustin Lynch is probably the one, and Chris Young, probably a little bit back and forth. They kind of have these feel on some songs, but some songs are more the pop country. But
sure,
like Justin Moore. Justin, I've met him, known him for a few years, and Chris Young the same way. You've got Winona on there, Steel Magnolias. I mean, you've got a huge resume, and that's not even all.
No, been lucky to been doing it for a long time, man. Yeah, there's some really just some of the names you dropped that bringing back memories of just good times of being with them and just how just down to earth they all are, and then I'm talking like Dustin Lynch and Chris Young, and those guys they're definitely the new country flavor now, but there's no doubt in my mind that they grew up on old school kind of stuff, and that they can pop that stuff out anytime they want to, and I've seen them do that, so especially like Chris is just a good old boy and one hell of a singer, and he can flat do it if he really wants to do it. Old school, you know what I mean? And Easton Corbin's great. He's what he was a good friend of mine. And first time I met him, it was like I ran into him like 3 months later at another show, and he like pulled me out of the crowd. I didn't see him. He was just walking, and we were just getting up for a show. He was like, "Hey, Buck," I'm like, "Who the hell's calling me?" And I turned around, it's Easton, and in the crowd, like, hey, dude, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, well, I'm playing down the road, and I stopped by. And he's like, oh man, it's good to see you. Just they're just down to earth, regular dudes, and it's cool, and that's just the way country music is, and for the most part, and they're just good old boys trying to make music and trying to fit in. They might change as they get bigger name wise, but a lot of times that's really not their call. It's not their choice, but deep down inside, they got into the business for a certain sound or something that got them there. And I'm not a signed artist, so right now I'm cutting the songs I want to cut and the kind of style I like to cut. So, I'm kind of happy doing that, being an independent artist and doing that and being able to run it from my back pocket and fill it and get on the road and put gas in the tank and get the guys to the next show. So right now we're having fun just being able to do that and kind of being on our own and doing what we like to do, as a big group of guys. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what got you into music originally? I mean, where did you, where did you get into it, and how young were you when you started, that kind of thing?
Man, I've always kind of had the music bug. My dad was a singer and guitar player and kind of did some bands when he was younger and before he got his family started. And so my dad always had guitars and microphones and PA systems around the house. They'd hit up buddies come over and jam, and that always had me into it. And the music was just something that I don't know if it's just ingrained from my dad playing so much of it, or it's just something that I just naturally just love that sound. I'm sure it's a mixture of both, but I didn't really get into music until I was about 15, 16. And at that time I was riding professional motocross, and I've been doing that for, at that time, about 12, 13 years since I was just a kid. I was riding professional when I was around 16. And I was picking up a guitar and just kind of, I was always the kid that had the guitar in the trailer, in the pits, just kind of goofing off. And I was weird because I was singing country songs, on a motocross track. And
right.
I was definitely always the outsider in that group. But motocross is a sport that, I owe a lot to that sport, as far as it's such a hard working, just dirty. It's just a hard sport. And I tell you what, after motocross, I feel like I can go out there and do whatever. Everything's just kind of a breeze after motocross, but I think that's helped me a lot in music too. Just it's a different animal, but I still get the adrenaline walking up on the stage when the band's up there starting. I got to get up, run up the stairs and get up on the stage. It takes me that same kind of adrenaline as I did when I was riding motocross. And it was just a weird transition how it happened. I wasn't planning on being a musician or a band leader or a singer or anything like that. When I was 20, I put motocross down. Just a personal, when I was done, I was done. I'd been riding professional for about 4 years and making a little bit of money. And I finally got going to take the supercrossing outdoors, and I kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt, went out there and did it. And, but all through the season, my head just wasn't in it. I didn't really perform. I was thinking about other stuff. And when I was done, my dad happened to come down when I was on the motocross track in Southern California, where we were training. And I was just one of those days. It was just going through the motions. What we do, we go through our laps, do our hot laps, do our motos, and after like midday, and I pull off the track, and I just didn't know what it was, but something. I was done, just cold, done. And when I put my bike on the stand, my dad happened to come down for the weekend just to see me and see what my progress is going with the team and my trainer and stuff, and put my bike on the stand, and I just sat on the doorway to the trailer. And my dad's like, "What's going on?" I just told him, "I'm not done." And he's like, "All right, well, let's go home. Let's get out of here." And it was just the weirdest transition how that worked. He knew I was done when I told him that. Because it's motocross, there's so many ups and downs. It's like, there's so many times if you're at a certain level, you're like, "Man, why am I doing this stuff? Why am I keep doing this stuff?" And you're always saying, "Oh, I'm not doing this anymore." But when I said it then, I meant it. He knew I meant it. And from then on, it was just like, let's get on with our life. Let's do something else. And, there's life after motocross. And I didn't believe there was when I said I quit. And even when I was done, I was done. I didn't know there was life after motocross. I didn't know what was going to happen. And it was a rough few months just trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and kind of going on Craigslist and finding band members and seeing who has a band I can jump into. And that's what I started doing, was just seeing, we need a singer this weekend. We got a country band, just weird things. And I went and jumped in and met some cool people and pieced together a little band about 4 months later. And sure enough, been picking up gigs after gigs, honky tonk after honky tonk. And just been doing it ever since. That was back in 2009. Wow. Was when I started doing that. And it just kind of evolved into what it is. Didn't have plans to do this, but I gave it a good year. And after that, I was in when that happened. And then from there, just been in the business and in and out of Nashville, meeting different people, seeing how things work, and making records and doing that kind of stuff. So it's been a big adventure, and still learning new stuff every day about the music business and how it works, and what kind of songs I want to cut and sing, and what kind of style I like to sing, and just different things. It's pretty cool. It's always learning something new every day with this darn business. I'll tell you.
It is definitely one that you never think you know it all because you never will.
You never will.
Just every day. So, about how many shows are you doing right now? I mean, of course, we just came off of the year that we all want to forget, but how many shows are you kind of averaging a year right now?
Right now, this year's been pretty awesome. After COVID, 2021 came around. Tell you what, man, everyone's ready to party. Everyone's ready to get out and get on with their life, and it's been just a great year. Not even we're still we're right now we did 80 shows so far this year.
Wow.
Which is a pretty good run. Independent artists, it's a pretty decent run. Obviously it's a mixture of honky tonk, it's a mixture of corporate events, it's a mixture of big stuff, opening act stuff, headlining stuff. So at a guy at my level, you have to you got to play them all, and
Right.
it's so yeah, we play a lot. And 80 gigs seems like a lot, but we're used to doing 120 to 150 a year. That's what we were doing in 2014, 15 up until 2018. Then we're doing more so like 100 shows a year. Getting bigger and better shows. And next year I got just crazy stuff lined up. But yeah, we're right now. This year we did about 80 shows. It'll be close to. It's actually going to be close to 100 by the time that New Year hits. So
Wow.
it's 21's been great. Obviously, 2020 was hard for everybody, and I'm in construction, so I obviously had to go out to work and do stuff to make a living. And if you didn't have something to do other than what your career was, you couldn't go do it. I feel for you, and something I was able to do is go to work and focus on something else for a year. And we did shows last year too. I think we did about 20, 25 shows last year, just
wow.
what we could get, which is hell more than most.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it was brutal, and yeah, right now we're just so lucky. It kind of rekindled us. I tell you that little break, and when we got back rolling, it's like we have a new love to go out and perform, and it's just so much fun because the people that come to the shows, they're ready to party too. They're ready to have fun and enjoy themselves because they've been cooped up for a year. So it's real cool. It's been great, and I worked on a record during that time, and got a few singles out on that. So
right.
The full record's going to come out in February. But yeah, I was able to utilize a little time during COVID to make a record and kind of get things rolling. So it wasn't entirely a kind of a bum year. It was rough, but it wasn't. Still was a little beneficial on a few things. So
right. Now, on your music, as far as like writing and stuff, do you have a huge hand in writing the music that you put out?
Sure, I do. This record, I wrote 7 songs on this record. I have 13 cuts on this record. I go back and forth a lot of time. I have a dozen songs I had picked for this album that I written or co-wrote with somebody that were on hold that I was like, yeah, that could be on the record, and then I pushed them off, and that just went into the book of all my songs I didn't cut. And there's just so many good. I get pitched so many good songs from some of the best in town. Carson Chamberlain, Phil O'Donnell, and some of those just amazing songwriters that have written everything, all those hits you hear from the 80s until now. And I know a handful of those guys that are constantly writing songs in my style that they know aren't going to get cut by anybody else. So they're constantly, pitching them out to me, seeing if they can throw it on, one of my cuts. I'm not a major label, but they still want to get their songs cut, especially if it's a country sounding thing where very few guys are going to cut something like that. Well, I will if it's, because there's so many, and it's crazy the songs that I don't cut because there's so many good ones that no one's ever heard. And I have sitting in my emails that are like, dang, this song is so good. People should hear this. I don't know why no one's cut this before, but that's crazy. It's crazy that the caliber of songs that I get pitched to me. And honestly, those are the songs I like. I mean, I'm a writer, but I'm not I'm not a writer like those top guys are.
Right.
The Carson Chamberlains and stuff like that that really know how to hone a song and do that. They're wordsmiths, and
Oh yeah.
there's a handful of them. I mean, that's just a couple guys I named off, but there's so many just amazing songwriters that throw me songs that they know that I would cut that, when 90% of the time it wouldn't get cut by a new artist because it's not even in their call most of the time. It's not
Right.
for the times, and but a guy like me is going to jump all over that kind of stuff, and they know that, so they're so it's hard. I do write a lot. A lot of times I end up using someone else's song because it's just better. If a song's, whether I write it or not, if a song's good, I want to cut that one. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I got a handful of songs that I probably will never cut that I've written. And but you gotta we've been trained with a lot of good songwriters that always tell me to finish the song, even if you think it's not going to get cut or it's not going to be on hold. Just finish the song, and I'm learning a lot too. I'm definitely not songwriting, like, it's just, you'll never be where you want to be in that world because you're always trying to write the cool song,
Right.
and no one knows when that's going to happen or when it's going to come to you. But it's pretty cool when it does with somebody, when you're in the room with somebody and it just works. It's pretty awesome. But so yeah, I got a pretty good hand in the stuff, but I do just, I'm so saturated with great songs pitched to me, and it makes it hard to cut my songs when it's just like you got these good ones that are thrown at you, that need to be cut. So
What's one song that you say, man, I would love to have recorded that song?
ooh, there's so many of those, and I hear them every so often. Chris Young's had a few ones out that are, like "Get Me Home" is one of those songs that's like, oh man, it's so country and it's so modern and edgy. It's like everyone in both parties are gonna like that song, whether you're a new country, someone that's just new to country, or a young girl, or someone that's been listening to country your whole life. You're gonna like something like that. I mean, songs like that, or Josh Turner, like "Your Man Came." It's like, I mean, come on, like there's everybody in every single genre that likes that song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so groovy, but it's so country too. It's hard to, like I said, guys who wrote those songs that are really know what they're doing, and got a good team behind them too, how to produce it to make it cool like that, and groovy and funky, but still just country as heck. And those are just a couple that popped out to me that are new style, that are new. I mean, hell, I think those are 15 years old now, but they're still new to me. But there's a handful of stuff. There's so many great singers out there that do know how to deliver a song. Guys like Randy Houser and like the Chris Youngs, and Morgan Whalen's he's a great singer too. He knows how to deliver a song as well. There's a ton of them out there that really can do it if they really want to. But they're in a different level of the world and their music business that they're doing what works. And can't knock them on that. So.
Right. If you could go back to your younger self and kind of prepare for what's going to happen, or you're going to go back and kind of give yourself advice when you're, say, 15, 16 years old, when you're first getting into it and starting to write stuff like that, what's one piece of advice you would give to yourself?
Oh man, that's a tough one, because I'm still learning stuff every day. But I remember when I was younger, I would get to a certain point where, like, I thought I knew it all. I thought I was at a certain level already. I was like, oh, I'm already past all that. I don't need to do all that. I'm done with that. But I would say be more humble and listen a little bit more to what, because you can learn something from anybody of any level, whether they're a professional musician or professional songwriter or a professional producer, or an amateur or a nobody that's just beginner. Like, I've learned new stuff from a beginner guitar player that I never even thought of playing, even though I've been playing for a long time. But I picked up just little stuff, and I would just say listen more, and I don't be so. I would just be more open to doing more things. And like, if I would have done more things early on with, especially with like social media, I would have been more active and I would have definitely, because social media is such a huge part of the game. Just learning more of that and writing more. I wish I would have wrote early on,
Right.
and honed a few more songs and spent a little more time on some of the recordings, before I did that. But there's just so many good people that I did learn stuff from, that I didn't realize I learned stuff from, now looking back, and just listen more, and probably didn't drink so many beers on my early touring days. Definitely had some good times, but didn't need to go so crazy all the time, and relationships and stuff like that on the road. It was rough. I was definitely living that life for a good while. So
Right. Kind of that
had,
rock star life that, you know,
I thought I was a rock star, yeah,
right.
early on, and certain times I felt I was. People thought I was, and I tried to go and do it and have fun, and I had fun, but didn't need to go so crazy sometimes. If I can go back, I wouldn't have been so nuts.
Right.
Would have slowed down and enjoyed it a little bit more. So been a little more aware. But
Well, we've got we're going to take a quick break here because I want to play some music for you because like I said, I'm digging the song. I love the way it sounds. I love your voice. I love the production and everything about it. It just sounds so good. But and the song is called Heart That's Gonna Break, and we'll play that here in just a second. First, I have to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Go-Go Tuners, and it was developed
right.
by pro musicians, and they were looking for ease of use and just how to have a tuner that would be really good to use on stage. And they came up with a great technology that they call Green You're In, Red You're Out. Very easy to tune a guitar with it. So be sure to check them out at gogotuners.com. Also being brought to you tonight by Heart to Heart Coffee. It's a coffee that gives back. If you want to check them out, you can go to heartcoffee.com. That is heartcoffee.com. They give back a percentage, 15% of every order that you make, one bag, or if it's a monthly order, they give that back to a charity of your choice. They give you an opportunity to pick the charity, and if it's not on there, then you can let Kyle and the folks know, and they'll see what they can get done. So be sure to check them out, Heart to Heart Coffee and Go-Go Tuners. Now we're going to get on into a lot of what we're about tonight because we do introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. So here is Buck Ford, and this is called Heart That's Gonna Break. It's on b4Nashville, introducing the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. All right. That was Buck Ford and A Heart That's Gonna Break. So tell me a little bit about the backstory on the song itself. Kind of where did it come from? What gave you the idea? If there were co-writers, who they were?
Sure. Yeah, no, that was a song that even now when I write, I still think back to my earlier touring days, and I was living in Nashville and running around and just having fun and playing lower Broadway and, touring, jumping in a van and running around with my band members all over. And this is a song that was just a slice off of about a year of my life. And when I was running around and being the young band leader and cowboy and being the guy that go from night to night playing a show here and driving 5-6 hours to play another show and be hungover the next morning, going to the next show and not knowing really what happened the night before. And so that's just one of those age-old kind of songs that,
right.
I was definitely that guy running around when I was, 22, 23 and before I got married and had kids and all that stuff, of course. But, definitely it's one of those songs that, I definitely met a girl that definitely kicked my butt and definitely made me realize that, dang, definitely played my game and gave me a taste of what I had been doing for years. And I just happened to fall in love with that girl and like her at that time. And I didn't ever think that would happen. And this is one of those songs that, I had that first melody in my head. He's a cowboy, and then city girl. And then my wife, I kind of was thinking the first, I was writing the first verse, kind of me and my wife. I'm a snow country boy, NorCal. My wife's just a city girl, and just kind of had that melody in my head for like 3 months, and I didn't do anything with it. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Just started a song and just sat down one night and wrote the first verse and just started thinking about old times and like, oh, okay, I can take this that way. And I used to be that guy, and started putting it together. And there would be girls coming to see me at a show. You can tell they'd never been. They went to the boot barn and bought their pair of boots and whatever to fit in for that night, and you can tell, it's straight up. And I was all for those kind, because they didn't know where I came from or anything, so they thought that was cool. And I knew that right off the bat. And when I was younger, I would, obviously just being young and living the life and doing it, being a singer and, just playing just a slice off a little part of my life there. And then finally meeting, just the same old story, just doing it again one night or 1 week and turning it around. It's the girl's the one that's really not into it, but still it's not 1 week or two. It's like she's going to play the game for a little while because she's a girl and she's not so not so rude like I am as a jerk, cowboy. It's like, all right, see you later, but one of those girls that let me fall in love with her and liked her, got me out of my stuff, and then I'm out. So it kind of did me the wrong way. And I wrote that, the second verse into I wrote all the choruses, and then I was like, man, gotta have a bridge here. And so I called up Carson Chamberlain, one of my friends, and a guy I met in Nashville who's just very established, produced so many records, written so many records, produced Billy Currington, produced Easton Corbin, written just so many things that you hear today. Didn't know he's a writer, but he's one of the biggest writers in town and producers. One of the guys I was valeting cars in Nashville, and it's when I met Carson, and I knew who he was from just the business and knew his name, and I knew what his face looked like, and I valeted his car, and he noticed my name tag, and I was like, he's like, you must be a country singer. I'm like, yeah, I'm a singer. I'm in Nashville on cars, and you can bet I'm probably a singer. And she's like, oh man, cool. And then got to chatting and stuff, and he's like, oh, and then I told him, I know who you are, and it's all right, cool. And I ended up just kind of randomly hooking up with him, not a gig, but we were somewhere where he came out to see like Brent Mason and James Mitchell, some of the best guitar players in town, and he was there. And I went up and talked to him, and he's like, oh, I remember you, Buck. And nice cat, and then ended up just getting a co-write with him and getting his phone number and talking about the business. And he's been a guy that I've always been able to bounce stuff off to and get, some input and what I should do. And so he was a guy that always opened the door to me and said, hey, if you got anything, just send it my way and I'll try to help you with it, whether it's songwriting, whether it's a music path you want to go, or it's a good idea, a bad idea. So when I'm stuck on a song, I send it to him, and kind of a guy that's always been there for me. And so I sent it to him, and he's like, all right, give me your day. And he redid the whole song, sent the whole song to me, and the verses and the lyrics and stuff that I did, and changed a couple lyrics here and there. And it's like, oh, because that's what he does. He hones it out and makes it just, he's a perfectionist, and did that and wrote a bridge and sent it to me. And I was like, well, dang, man, I think this is going to be my favorite record on the song. And sure enough, so yeah, I've been real lucky, real cool to have Carson on that song with me. I was really glad to have him put his touch on it and, make that song a little bit better. So, anytime you get a guy like that in the mix, he's definitely gonna help your situation a little bit. So that's how that one came about. So
let's move into kind of today and today's country for a second, because I have a question that I'm going to lead up to with this. But country music today, it's taken some twist. I mean, I've been in country radio for probably 12 years.
Okay.
And worked as a program director, on-air personality, operations manager, pretty much done it all. And I've seen a lot of changes within the genre, people getting younger, people going a little bit more what I call LA country, just kind of a glitz and glam. But a lot of collaborations are coming out right now. I mean, seems like everybody anymore has to sing with somebody. It's kind of the new Nashville mentality. If you had an opportunity to collaborate with an artist, and that's what they used to call duets, if you had a chance to collaborate with an artist on a song, as in recording it, who would that artist be?
Well, that's easy and it's hard because if I were to get with somebody and collab, it'd be someone like, Mark Chestnut or doing a duet with Leanne Womack or someone like that. Right. That's obviously what I would like to do. I don't know. I mean, I can jump in and do the best with them with, John Party and Rhett, all those guys that do that stuff. I can fit right in that mix. But it's the easy part is I would love to do a duet one day with Liam Womack and obviously George Strait. I mean, that's just easy stuff. But you were trying to think of now. Cody Johnson for sure.
Yeah.
He's a guy that just the real deal singer. He's a real singer. He's done it. He's paid his dues. He's done it the hard way on his own. He's just so raw and just so naturally country boy. He's just got it. And it'll be fun. I've played a few shows with him, and he's just a bad dude. Really, just humbling when you go see a guy like that. And I did a duet with Kevin Denny on my new record that's coming out. And Kevin Denny's a guy from late '90s, 2000. Had a record deal for a little while. One of my favorite singers, hands down. Second to Daryl Singletary in my book, and he's one of the best singers in town, I think. Great songwriter. He's written a ton of hits for guys nowadays. Bonfire, written a bunch of stuff for Easton Corbin, a bunch of stuff. I mean, he's still writing, and he's in the business pretty well. But he's fun. He was a good time. Definitely one of my favorite singers, and I got to knowing him in town. And so, to be honest, I've done a pretty close to singing with one of my heroes with Kevin Denny, and when that one gets out released, I'm going to do some cool stuff on that song. It's we did a cover song, so it'd be kind of cool to get that one out there and get him kind of back out for a little bit and maybe doing a couple shows with us. But Kevin Denny's just one of those guys that not a lot of people know, but in my book, he's one of the best in town, and done it just like everybody else has, But nowadays, Cody Johnson, Chris Young, those are my kind of guys that I think would be awesome to do something with. It'd be really cool.
If you did a collaboration with Chris, would it be along the lines of Famous Friends, or would it be something like maybe along the lines of Your Man or something like that? Something that's a little bit more throwback feel, or would it be kind of a?
Yeah, definitely a throwback feel. I think you take two guys like him, who's a country boy, and me, who's a country boy. That obviously I'm still doing that kind of stuff. It'd be kind of cool to, maybe throw something at the people that they don't hear every day. That's on the same template that like every song that's played right now. Throw something different with maybe a Spanish style kind of beach kind of thing, but take it like to, Blame It on Mexico kind of George Strait feel.
Right.
Something cool, that could be modernized and edgy and people can groove to when they're out partying or on the lake or, doing something on the weekends. So
something with more real drums than snap tracks or something like that.
Yeah, no loops, nothing like that. They hear enough of that stuff every day. Just something that a lot of very musically, a lot of steel guitar, a lot of fiddle. That's just edgy, that because you can do country music edgy and it's still country as heck. I think if you were to throw me and a guy like Chris Young together, it would have to be something like a throwback that's going to grab, that has enough edge to it that people are going to be like, oh, that's cool, man. We haven't heard something like that in a long time. Or, like, oh, that's with the time, but it's definitely country. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. And I think he'd be up for that too, because he's a country boy.
He is.
He's a country boy, and he's a good dude too. Really nice guy, nice cat. So
yeah, Chris is a good friend of ours. I actually proposed to my wife at one of his shows, and so
man,
and we hung out with him backstage before the show, and then about I don't know, 2 years later, it was the same venue. It was a rodeo, is what it was. And that's where I proposed. And then 2 years later, when he came, they brought him back, and we're back hanging out with him again. And he gets up on stage and he acknowledges, that we're there and stuff. So it was really cool. So Chris is he's just one of those awesome guys. He's he likes to be a person when he's out, but when he's on stage, he's a star, and he's
a star, right?
And he that.
Yeah. Very good at that, but he's definitely the guy that can go out to a bar in Lower Broadway and have a good time with all the rest of them and just enjoy himself. And he likes that. And I've ran into him multiple times on Lower Broadway, just out with a friend and just enjoying some music, just being a regular person and to see him be able to do that and playing the CMAs one night and then the next night going out and just hanging out with people. That's the kind of guy he is. He's just a regular dude. But he's a pro for sure.
Super cool guy. Super cool guy.
Yeah.
Now, I started to go a route with this, but I'm gonna go back to my cheat sheet here for a second. Because a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, but you've kind of led to a couple of questions I have on there is like, if I was to open your playlist right now, what would your top 10 songs be?
For my music or
for just what you're listening to? If I opened up what's on your, like your iTunes playlist, who are you listening to right now?
Right. I'm on a big Cody Johnson kick right now, just because he's just such a, he's cutting just such cool things right now. And it just very, very connects with me, having a family and just being a kind of a family guy, but also a honky tonker and just has those songs that hit you. I always have George Strait's Volume 1 Straight Out of the Box, always right there to hit. Always that Saving the Honky Tonks, Mark Chestnut is definitely my top favorite album. It was 2004. He came out with that thing. So country, just all shuffles and just awesome playing. Brent Mason, Paul Franklin, just amazing stuff. Definitely on a big Cody Johnson thing right now. He's just he's so fresh right now. And he's the guy, I think, in my book. And I think right now that's just the top. He's going on tour with, I think, Luke this next summer, but he could definitely front his own tour if he needed to, in my book. But
Yeah, he just rolled through here. He was here in our town 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I got to go see him
Awesome.
for a little bit. Yeah, and so he's kind of doing his own little mini tour type of thing,
Right.
small arena tour. It's about a 7,000 seat venue. So
Right. They're all sold out. You can bet.
oh yeah,
Yeah. He does a good job at that stuff. But definitely him. As far as new artists, I always have, like I said, George Strait, Volume 1, straight out of the box. Right there next to Mark Chestnut. I'm just a huge Chestnut guy. And then I'm a huge Joe Diffie guy too. I just love him and love his style. And you can always count on him taking that high tagline at the end of every song, doing something
right.
Joe Diffie style, and that's just something, you look down the lines of Joe Diffie, Travis Tritt, Mark Chestnut, they had that unique something that they did that made them different from everybody
Oh
else.
yeah.
And that's the stuff I miss about that music. And, Daryl Singletary, I listen to a Daryl Singletary song at least every other hour in my life. He's just my hero, and he's just so good. He's just the guy in my book. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Some great artists. I mean, great people on your playlist, and I can't argue with any of them. We've got the holidays are coming up, and of course that means if you go into any store right now, if you went in there a month ago, you could hear Christmas music everywhere you went.
Right.
If you ever did a Christmas album, what would be the lead single on the Christmas album?
Chestnuts, roasted chestnuts, man. I love that song. What's the actual name of that song? It's the Christmas song.
The
I think
Christmas
it's what it's
song,
called.
yeah.
That I love. Well, I do it every year for holidays with my band, and we do Christmas shows and theater shows, and I love that song. And I kind of go off Joe Diffie's version of it. He did like in 1995 or something. Super chordy, just got a ton of riffs, and I don't do it like Joe Diffie does, but I try to. But I love that song. Definitely that one, and I cop. We got a version of White Christmas that we do. It's key change in it.
Okay.
It's just fun. It's cool. Definitely the top two for me. The Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting, definitely my hands down my favorite one to sing for holidays.
Right.
And then White Christmas is fun. It's just a standard that we kind of put our own spin. We made kind of our own version of it. We went over it 4 or 5 years ago with me and my band, and we just kind of stick to it. There's a little modulation we do, and we have fun with it. But those two are definitely ones that are always going to be on our Christmas playlist. And if I were to ever cut a Christmas record, they will be on that Christmas record. So
awesome.
Easy one there.
So let's talk shows for a minute, because I'm sitting here looking over your upcoming shows. You've actually got one coming up on Saturday night in California, Napa Valley.
Yeah, I'll be in Napa Valley doing a young farmers and ranchers event. We do a lot of that kind of stuff this time of year. Cattlemen's Association, young farmers and ranchers, ag boosters, that kind of stuff. We basically just a big raffle with a big country concert for the people that came up and spent their money and enjoyed themselves. And we do a lot of that. We kind of specialize in that kind of stuff. And those are things that keep us rolling through the year. And I think the following week I'll be in Reno doing one for the Cattlemen's Association. And I do the same thing. It's a big cattlemen's convention, and I do their annual show concert at the end of that event. And then we're doing a release party December 10th in my hometown, Vacaville, California. I'm doing a one show only physical copy album release for one show.
Oh, wow.
Other than that, it's released in February the next year. And that one's already sold out. And it's in our local theater. I have a couple holiday events after that. A fairgrounds event a week after that, Solano Fairgrounds, which is in Vallejo, California.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're doing Red Bluff Roundup Rodeo New Year's concert for New Year's Eve. And that's going to end us out for the year.
Wow.
So we got a few things brewing. We got a few corporate things in the mix in between all those that are private, you know what I mean, that keep us rolling. And obviously that's stuff we got to do and keeps us going to the next show and having a vehicle to get in. So But yeah, we got some cool stuff lined up for the rest of the year. And January, we kind of take a little time off, and then February hits and we just go until right around this time every year.
Right.
We got a little time off. Obviously, we take Christmas week off. January, we probably play 3 or 4 shows here and there. And then February hits, we just get back to work, basically. So
right.
I'll shoot some ducks in January.
There you go.
Family and the boys, and then spend a little time with the family and some weekends. And, then February hits, I'm kind of back busy times again. So,
right. And you
very
get
lucky.
Album release in February as well. So
Yes,
that's keep you busy for that month.
It's going to be busy. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be real. It's going to be good. Real excited. Got a lot of stuff booked already for 2022 that I'm very excited for. Some rodeos and a lot of great fair concerts we're doing, and it's going to be fun. Can't wait.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to find you on social media just to say hi, where are they going to be looking?
Right now, all my stuff's at Buck Ford Country, Instagram, Twitter is at Buck Ford 100. Actually, I'm actually switching it over to Buck Ford Country. So I'm in the mix of doing stuff. But if you want to find something real quick, go to buckford.com, and every social media link is right there on that front page, and you can get to me that way. Get to my digital platforms where all my music is. Everything is there. So buckford.com. You should be able to find everything you need to know on me. So
that should be pretty easy to find. Just go to buckford.com and you'll be able to find it all there. And again, like Buck said, all of his social media is right there on the website. If you're a corporate type of person, you're looking for an event, you can message him through the website and also find out some info about bringing him into your corporate events. I mean,
yep.
Those are always fun, those corporate events.
Oh, yeah.
I've been involved in a few of those, and pretty fun things to do. I mean,
right.
And they pay pretty decent too.
Sure. That's something that to be honest, we do a lot of that stuff. Kind of a guy at my level. I've kind of steered away from just playing straight honky tonk all the time. I'm doing either bigger shows or, I'm doing the corporate things just to obviously keep my band working and keeping some money in the pocket and keeping things paid around here. But yeah, so a guy right now, I'm doing a ton of that kind of stuff. And, we're lucky to have them. And, we play those and we play our shows that we want to play, headliner kind of things and opening acts and stuff like that. So those are definitely stuff that we're thankful for and we're glad to do them. So yeah, all that stuff, you can contact me there and find everything you need to know about me on that website. So,
all right. Well, if you're ever back in the Tennessee, Missouri area, I'll have to be sure to look you up if you're doing a show anytime soon.
Yeah.
And, we'll have to come out and catch it sometime.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
So, again, Buck Ford, if you want to find out more, be sure to go to buckford.com. Check out his music. It's on all the streaming platforms. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple iTunes. It's on Pandora. And all that stuff. You can go there and download it. That's the best way to get the music. It's just to download it. And you can also, now I didn't see, I was looking here and I may have missed it. Any merchandise on the website?
It's coming up this week. I have merchandise. If you come to my shows, there's merchandise there, but it's coming on the website. I got someone working on it this week, actually. So
right.
I got all that stuff. Just bear with me. You got to come to the shows to get them as of now, but they'll be up. So,
well, keep an eye out on the website, or like you said, it's best just to go to a show and get it there. It's a lot more fun, and it means more when you buy it at the show. Not that it doesn't mean anything when you buy it offline, but
sure.
Always want to encourage you to purchase the music and to purchase merchandise from all the artists that we interview here on Before Nashville. So, Buck, man, thanks a lot for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it and look forward to hearing the music in February and hope everything goes well, and keep us posted on what's happening with you. All right.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you.
Hey, man, thank you. We appreciate you coming on. So that was Buck Ford on Before Nashville. And don't forget, Mondays and Thursdays, we do it again. So Monday night, we'll have another great artist for you. So come on and join us back here. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. with b4Nashville. So join us again on Thursday or Monday night. Y'all have a great one.